So when you hear the word standards, is that something that is motivational and inspiring to you? Or is that something where you don't feel good about it? Simply put. Okay, what standards used to mean to me, well, like when I was younger, was just like what grades am I getting and how am I performing in sports. That was like my first ever understanding of the word standards. And then over time, as I got more involved in startup culture, I started to learn that, oh, standards is your level of output. Like, what can you do for the team? What can you do to continue to basically earn your spot on the team and create value for the company? And this was years ago when I used to work more in like the startup world. Now, what I've come to understand with standards is really twofold. One is in the work that you do, and I know a lot of people who watch my videos, you're very interested in like performing at a higher standard and making more money and having more success and all that, which is cool. Like as long as you're aligned with the best outcome, I think it's cool to get the right standards. Now, if you're wasting your life away at some, you know, stupid job you don't really care about, or you're just working just to try and hopefully retire early and you haven't really thought it through, okay, let's change let's change that. Okay. But in general, right, if you're working towards like, hey, I want to have financial freedom, I want to have those goals, cool. There's a certain level of standards you're going to need to hold for yourself. And I'll get to that in a moment in this video of how you can change those standards and how you can continually actually enjoy hitting those standards. There's also another standard, and it's who you are with yourself and your relationships around you. Because I look at the standards I hold myself to now with my wife, and I have 2 kids. It's like, it's very different than when I was a single guy. When I was a single guy, my standards, depending on the phase of my life, but sometimes my standards were very low for myself. And I wasn't actually happy with myself. And I kind of dreaded every week, and I kind of dreaded where I was at in my life. That's me being brutally honest. This was 5-ish years ago. And for a good, probably 10 years of my life, I didn't really, honestly, I wasn't really proud of my standards. Now with a wife and with 2 kids who watch me every day and they model for me, there's a certain standard I need to hold myself to. So first I'll talk about more of the financial part, then I'll talk about more of the relationship part. Because I know everyone, on some level, you have relationships with close people around you, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you got a group of friends or whatever. So first things first, let's talk about more the finance and the success standards, okay? The level of output required to actually have success in the world is probably a lot higher than you're holding yourself to. And I even know for myself, because I continually push myself to a higher standard. It's like right now, I have a certain standard for myself with how much content I need to put out into the world. Because I've learned quite a bit, again, really over the past 5 years, of what it takes to actually have real effective success and really make an impact in the world. I've learned that for myself. So that standard is that I keep having to push it higher. Here's the first big takeaway I want to leave you with in this video, is having a community of people around you who actually push you to a higher level is essential. It's not just nice to have, it's essential. So if you don't have a core inner circle or a core group or a core community that you're meeting with in person consistently, that is a huge area for improvement you can have. Now, one is you could start your own meetup if you don't have that. And 4 years ago, I did this where I knew my wife, Jessica, but we weren't together yet. And then also my friend and colleague, Pedro, where we work together in the same business. We were also like, dude, there's got to be other people who like listen to podcasts and take notes and like go to seminars and like actually want to change, actually want to grow. They read books and they underline the books and they're like working on themselves, right? But we're like, dude, where are the others? We couldn't find them. We would go to all these meetups and everyone there just wanted to hand out their stupid business card. And it was so lame because everyone was there to just try and take. So we said, okay, let's start a local meetup and let's run it every week or every 2 weeks and never stop until we have the coolest networking group in the world. That was really our goal and our intention. We've been doing it for 4 years. And it's awesome. I'm sure if you follow me on Facebook, you see we post it every week now. And it's a success mastermind. That's really what a mastermind is. And that's how it fits into your standards, is when you got to show up every week and you got to bring something to the table and share and give value and grow. One, it's the most fulfilling thing ever because you see the people around you become a reflection of you. And as you level up, it inspires them and vice versa. When they're winning, it makes you feel good, right? You're like in that collective. I mean, it really is what it is it's a resonance field. And in that resonance field, and when everyone's winning, that rubs off. Like success rubs off. Success is contagious. But also, it's like that phrase, misery loves company. So whoever you're around and whoever you spend time with is going to be reflected in your standards you hold for yourself. Here's the good thing. You can change that. And if you want help with how to do that, like I can share with you. I mean, you have to reach out to me about it, but I can share with you how we've literally had thousands of people come through our meetup. It's awesome. And we also have that in the Self-Perfected Facebook group, is we do a meetup every single Friday. We're on Zoom and we hang out and we're all pushing each other. And it's like, it is so fulfilling because we are social creatures at the end of the day, and the standards of the people around you will be reflected in your own standards. Okay. So that's on standards with success. Now here's the other standard in your immediate relationships, whether it's with, again, your spouse, your kids, your significant other, whatever you want to call them. Here's how I do it. My wife and I agreed to a set of principles. It's our standards for each other and for ourselves. And we've agreed to hold ourselves to that instead of just what comes easy and simple. So there have been many times where I've wanted to unconsciously, I wanted to take the easier way. I want to take the simpler way. And my wife, she even picks this up in herself. She's like, look, I could just do that, but it would be out of a desire for control. Like, take the easy way. That's okay. I'll encapsulate it in a quote. You know Henry Ford, right? Ford vehicles. Love him or hate him, whatever. He was asked one time, who's the most important person in his mastermind or in his inner circle? Guess what he said? I think he said Thomas Edison, even though they were great friends. No. Do you think he said Napoleon Hill, even though they knew each other? He said no. Andrew Carnegie? No. He said his wife, Mrs. Ford. That was the most important person in his mastermind. Because when you have someone by your side who's actually going to hold you to a higher standard, it's phenomenal. If you are married or in a relationship and it's not holding you to a higher standard, guess what? They don't need to change. You need to change. You get to change. You don't need to change, but actually, deep down you do. That standard, having that higher code of ethics or principles or whatever you want to call it that you hold yourself to, is one of the most liberating things because, yeah, it's a little bit harder early on, but it makes your whole life easier. Here's another idea for you that encapsulates this. If you do the easy things, life becomes hard. If you do the hard things, really the best things, life becomes easier. Doesn't mean life's going to be totally easy. Like, for example, I'll give you an example that encapsulates this. My wife and I agreed that we are going to not just homeschool our kids, but give our kids the very best education ever so that they can pick up any book and read it. They can have an extremely high vocabulary. They can be confident doing anything that they want to do. If they want to learn how to ride a horse, they want to learn how to run a specific kind of business, if they want to learn about quantum physics, whatever. My wife and I agreed we are going to make sure our kids are going to be able to do that way ahead of schedule. Compared to where the standard education system would be, our kids are going to be geniuses. Now, that doesn't mean it's easy. It means we have discipline every day where they do certain, home education process, and I can share that with you, but it's our homeschooling curriculum. And we start our son with it. And it's awesome. It's amazing, but it's also tough. And it means I have to be that example for my son. And it's not the easiest thing, but he's already getting compliments on it. He's already more confident than I know he'd be without it. And that's the kind of thing that my wife and I have agreed to. We're going to hold ourselves to that standard of what's best, and we will reap the benefits of that. Because what's the alternative? Compromise? Really? I'm not cool with that. There will be moments where I accidentally compromise, but my wife and I can call each other out on it in a cool, respectful way, and we're not attacking each other and, calling each other out. But it's a very effective way of support we've developed over years and years and years. And now my wife knows how to be my ultimate cheerleader. And I know how to support her when she's, having moments where she's contemplating, okay, I don't know what's the best choice. I know how to support her. And think of the compound effect on that. Think of the compound effect on that. All right? When you develop that trust with someone and you can support each other, you reap exponential gains from that. And we're still just getting started. I mean, we've been married for 4 or 5 years. Imagine after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of that. And imagine when my kids are 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old. And we have a whole community around us. Imagine that after 10, 20, 30 years. That is the real power of standards. Okay? So I just encourage you, here's a simple exercise you could do. Write out who are the 10 people you're spending the most time with. And are you happy? Let's just rate it 1 to 10. How happy are you with the standards y'all are holding yourselves to? If it's with your spouse and it's a 2, okay, well, reach out to me. Don't go making some drastic, bold change. It's about changing yourself first and the standards you have for yourself. And that will ripple into all your relationships, okay? So I want you to have a life where it's a 10 all around. But you got to get there through your standards, okay? So if you found value from this, you can always connect with me on Facebook. All right, see ya.